Please rise. Close the session.
All right. Anything before I bring the jury up?
Before we do that, I was going to put into evidence the
Be seated.
thing with photograph from this morning.
Oh, Exhibit 10.
Yes. I think they're actually already in based on the witness documentation.
All right. Ms. Brandis, you have a matter?
Yes, I do, Your Honor. Over the lunch hour, I noticed that there was some published media photos that included my computer screen, not the one that reflects the exhibit, but the one that reflects the work I'm doing. I would ask this court to order that photos not be taken that include my computer screen, or that not be published including my computer screen, because I often am pulling up things on this case that are not admissible that I'm looking at, and I'm also having things up on other cases, and that's a client confidentiality issue.
So just let me restate that to make sure I understand. Are you saying that things that you're looking at on your computer are showing up on the big screen in front of the jury?
No, no. Well, this screen, this upper screen, is connected to the prosecutor system, and that's showing what's on the big screen, and that's fine. But this is my computer that's connected to my work remotely, and I am looking at different things on this computer than is what is showing to the jury. I'm working on things related to my client here, but also to other clients as well simultaneously, and I can't have the confidentiality of any of that material.
I agree with you. I'm just trying to understand the mechanics of what is going on. Is it that your laptop in front of you is going onto the second computer screen that is facing you?
No, they're just taking pictures from behind, and it's catching my computer screen.
Oh, I see. People that are in the press are taking pictures from behind, catching your computer screen.
Yes, and I can move this smaller screen that shows what's the jury over, so we're not in perfect alignment. That's fine.
Okay.
But I would ask the court to order that my laptop screen not be photographed.
All right. Does that pose any difficulty? No, I see the media saying you are now, your name is now media. No, but in all seriousness, it sounds like that's not a problem. Is that correct? And
Yeah.
also for the pool camera, is that?
I was going to say, I want to make sure if I have a picture here that I'm not actually seeing that screen.
Yes.
There's nothing on it now, if you don't mind if I...
I don't mind. I would like you to look at that, please.
Yeah, I am.
So let me say this. On each of the council's tables, there are computer screens, Dell computer screens that are standalone computer screens that are used to see what is being proffered for exhibits. Council also have their own personal laptops. There's a pool camera in the courtroom, and I am right now looking at what the pool camera is broadcasting on Cairo 7 right now. So when there is a pull-away photograph or a pull-away screen which shows the entire courtroom, it's not possible to see Ms. Brandis' screen. When there's a close-up of Mr. Ybarra, that becomes possible then to read Ms. Brandis' screen. So I'm going to ask that you refrain from filming close-ups of Mr. Ybarra for that very reason. I think then Ms. Brandis has a point that confidentiality could be compromised. And I'm afraid there's nothing I can do about the fact that you have people behind you, but I think you and your client actually block much of the access that you would have from seeing your screen. All right, so hopefully that addresses your concerns. I think it does.
Thank
and
you.
Anything else then before we bring the jury?
Nothing to say.
All right, you worked out your schedule or discussed. Are you planning on finishing early this afternoon, do you think?
We're hoping not this afternoon, and we've done some readjustment for tomorrow. We're going to consult with counsel as we move forward, and we'll advise the court if we think there's going to be some gaps.
All right, thank you.
Mr. May, stand for the jury.
Please come in and be seated. Please come in and be seated. You may all be seated. Good afternoon. Council have adjusted their schedule so that we'll use all the time we have, since matters are moving a little more quickly than anticipated. And also, we started, as you know, about 10-15 minutes late. From time to time, there'll be matters that we need to take up at the time when we begin. Those matters need not concern you, but I do appreciate your patience while we're doing work out here, and you're coming in a little bit later. So, next witness.
We call Sharman Haley.
Okay, you raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth?
I do.
Would you be seated here, please?
Good afternoon, ma'am. Can you state your full name and spell it for the court reporter?
Sharman Haley, SHARMANHALEY.
Whereabouts do you live? What part of town?
Well, I had been living in Anchorage, Alaska, but I've just recently moved down to South Park.
And are you from the Seattle area, or have you lived in the Seattle area prior to living in Anchorage?
I grew up in Tacoma, and I lived in Juneau, and I have been in and out of Seattle for many, many years. Half my family lives here.
Do you recall being near the campus at Seattle Pacific University in June of 2014?
Yes, we had just been down to Canal Marina to inquire about a slip for our house barge.
And you said who were you with?
Michael Samoya.
And Canal Marina, what part of town is that?
It's on Ewing Street on the waterfront.
And you're pointing, and I'm just getting this down for the record, to a map that is up in the courtroom that is State's Exhibit 2, is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And you were looking into a slip, you said for a houseboat?
Yes.
Okay. Do you remember when you were with Mr. Samoya, seeing something that prompted you to call 911?
Yes, we had finished our business at the marina, and we were driving up, 3rd Street, something like that. And I saw a gentleman with a rifle on the sidewalk just near our car where we were driving up the block. And it alarmed me, and I saw him walk up towards a group of people on the sidewalk who were not facing him, and with the rifle in shooting position, and I was wondering to myself, could this be a joke? What is going on here? Doesn't look like a joke to me. And Michael was driving and continued ahead, so I didn't actually see anything further, but I heard the shot and told Michael that we needed to stop and back up and witness it, and I was getting out my phone to make the phone call.
Okay. Ms. Haley, let me stop you there. You indicated that you guys were driving. Do you remember what kind of car you were driving in? Or what color
Yes.
it was?
Yes, it's my Prius C. They call the color rain. It's an ice blue.
Okay. Do you remember about what time of day this was?
No, I think it was in the afternoon. Mid-afternoon,
You
probably.
indicated that the first thing that drew your attention when you saw a gentleman with a rifle. Is that correct?
Yes.
So is he, where was he in relation to your vehicle when you first saw him?
I have since learned that Michael saw him before I did, but when I first saw him, he was on the sidewalk, and he was walking, that would have been north, I don't know, about 20 feet or so from the car.
Okay. And Mr. Smoy is actually here with you today to
Yes, he
testify
is.
next, right? Okay. So the best you can, just to let us know what you recall, and we'll talk to Mr. Smoy about what he remembers, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So you indicated when you first saw him, he was on the sidewalk heading north. And what direction were you all heading?
We were heading south.
And you indicated about how far from your car was he when you first saw him?
I'm guessing that it was, 20 feet, something like that.
Are you familiar with firearms? Did you know it was a rifle opposed to any other firearms?
I'm not very familiar, but being from Alaska, firearms are common. Rifles are common. Hunting rifles are common.
And what did it look like? Do you remember?
No, I was just fixated on that, and I don't remember any details. I don't have a good visual memory.
How,
But it was clearly a rifle, a real rifle. It clearly wasn't a toy.
how was the person holding the gun when you first saw him?
I believe the person was striding with the gun in his hand and raised it up to his shoulder pretty shortly,
And just for the record, we're taking it down. You raised both hands as if he had it up at shoulder height. Is that correct?
I believe so.
Was it pointed at anyone when you saw him?
Yes, it was pointed at the back of the head of the person who was not facing him, who was in conversation with two other people on the sidewalk.
And you said at first you couldn't tell if it was a joke. Is that right?
I couldn't imagine what was happening. I was wondering, could this possibly be a joke? I mean, why would anyone play a joke like this?
Do you remember if your car windows were down or up on that day?
Not specifically. I'm just guessing that they were up, even though it was a summer day.
Do you recall, I guess my question is, do you
No,
recall
I don't
anybody,
specifically recall.
do you recall hearing anybody on the street, whether the person with the rifle or the other people saying anything?
No, I don't remember hearing anything other than the gunshot.
And whereabouts, so tell us about the last, you saw the person pointing at the back of the head of the other person, and then you heard a shot, is that correct?
Right, we continued up the street, and there was a parked car that came in between us, and it was behind at that point. And when I heard the shot, and then we stopped at the stop sign and went back.
And I think you indicated you were trying to call 911, or at some point got your phone out, is that right?
Yes,
And did you in fact call 911?
yes.
How long after you heard the shot did you reach 911, do you remember?
Oh, it was less than a minute. It was as fast as I could do it.
Did you guys stop your car?
Yes.
And what did you do next?
We went back, but we didn't see anything further.
When you say you went back, did you do like a U-turn? Did you go around the street or back up? What did you do?
I think we did a U-turn because we ended up on the other side of the street. We may have backed up first, but I don't remember. I wasn't driving. I know that we ended up facing the other direction on the other side of the street.
When you backed up or did a U-turn, when you got back to that area, did you see the man with the gun anymore?
No, I didn't, and I couldn't see where he went. I was trying to look to see where he went, and I couldn't see where he went.
So what's the last vision in your head of the man with the gun?
Him with the rifle at his shoulder, pointing directly at these people on the sidewalk.
About how long do you think it was, if you recall, between the time you saw him pointing at the people and you heard the shot?
Seconds.
Did you see anybody else when you went back? Did you see anybody that was injured at all?
I saw someone on the ground, but I couldn't tell what, the status was.
Did you guys get out of your car at that point?
No.
With the court's permission, can the witness step down to describe to the jury where she was?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And then I'm going to have you stand all the way over here so that we can make sure that your back is not turned to any jurors. So just back up just a little bit. Okay. So tell us where you guys were coming from, if you can.
Canal Marina is up here on the water, and we came up Ewing Street and turned right on 3rd Avenue, and we were heading out towards Nickerson, actually. We're going to head up Nickerson.
Okay. And so for the record, you sort of said the Canal Marina is a little off the top of Exhibit 2.
Right.
Okay. And then you were heading, it looks like...
We're going south on 3rd Avenue West.
And whereabouts did you see the man pointing the gun?
It was in the middle portion of the block here, roughly.
Okay. And then you think you flipped around or got back?
And we got all the way up to the stop sign before we went back.
And even though you just got to that stop sign, by the time you got back, the man with the gun was gone?
Right.
Okay. You can have a seat. Thank you.
There was a little bit of debate whether we should hightail it out of there or stop and go back.
Between you and Mr. Samoya?
Correct.
Okay. Did you think you should go back?
Oh, I absolutely thought we should go back and witness and report.
Did you in fact talk to the police at some point later that day or soon thereafter?
Yes, we were interviewed in the gymnasium across the street.
Ms. Haley, did you have an opportunity to listen to a brief snippet of a 911 call earlier this afternoon?
Immediately before this, yes.
And did you recognize your voice and it being the 911 call you made that day?
Yes.
State's Exhibit number 11 is marked for identification.
And I'm handing you actually what's been marked for identification as State's Exhibit 11. Is that we're showing you? Does that look like the CD that you listened to earlier this afternoon?
Yes.
And the state moves to admit 11.
No objection.
Submitted?
Permission to publish, Your Honor.
Granted?
What are you reporting?
We just witnessed a shooting on 3rd Avenue and Nickerson.
3rd and Nickerson? How many minutes ago was this?
30
Was
seconds
this
ago.
3rd Avenue North or 3rd Avenue West?
3rd Avenue West.
3rd Avenue West, 30 seconds ago. Who had a gun? Was it a male or female?
A male in a cap
What do you do with it? Radio shooting that just occurred at 3rd Avenue West and West Nickerson Street. Caller says 30 seconds ago. Man, what did you see the guy do with the gun?
Somebody shot? Just walked up behind this guy. Was somebody shot? Was somebody shot?
Yeah.
Yeah. Get fire on the line.
Stay on the line, ma'am. Stay on the line for just a second. Stay on the line for just a second. We're on the line. Let me talk to the dispatcher, sir. Hold on.
Fire and Medic 1, what's the address?
Hey, Fire, this is Radio. We have a shooting at 3 Avenue West and West Nickerson Street. Caller says she saw a male shoot another person on one of the screens with you.
Okay. Where's the person that was shot?
Ma'am, laying on the ground.
He's still lying on the ground, but I can't tell. Okay. Do we have any security just arrived? Okay, to you, campus security. Listen to me. We need to know where the shooter is. Is he on foot? Did he leave in a car? He was on foot. What race was he? I don't know. Ma'am, does anybody have a description? We need to know who we're looking for. We've got lots of help on the way. Can anybody identify?
He was about 5'9". He was maybe 140 pounds. He was about, a plaid shirt on over a white t-shirt. He was wearing jeans. He was kind of pretty dark hair, and he was wearing glasses.
Okay, is he white male, black male?
He's a white male.
How old?
Probably between 25 and 30.
What direction did he go?
Didn't see that. We were going in the opposite direction after he shot.
Was he on foot or in a vehicle?
I thought he got out of a vehicle, but he just came across the street. He was on the east side of the street. He walked across to the west side.
And you said you thought he got out of a vehicle? Did you see a vehicle, sir?
I didn't see that he got out of a vehicle. All I saw was he crossed the street.
And you didn't see which way he actually went, correct?
After that, he looked like he reloaded and just went. I couldn't see where he went, to tell you the truth. We were going in the opposite direction.
I know which direction, okay. And the victim that's found on the ground, is it a male?
I'm not nearby it.
The campus security officers are dealing with it right now.
Right, no, I can see that they're on the scene there. I'm just trying to get as much information as far as what you saw, just so I know.
There were two people standing there, and this guy walked up behind one of them, lifted his rifle, and shot directly into the back of the person's head.
Okay, so you said it was a rifle, like a long gun, not a handgun?
It was a shotgun.
Long gun.
Sure, sir, did you say it was a shotgun?
I believe it was a shotgun with a ribbed upper section to the gun.
Yeah, it had an odd rib shape on the long barrel.
Okay. All right, sir, what's your last name?
Samoya, Samoya.
First name?
Michael.
And Michael, can you confirm your phone number for me, please?
206-948-9270. That's not the number we're calling from.
Right, go ahead. That's 206-948. What was the rest?
9270.
9270. Okay, can you confirm the cell that you're talking on? Is that her phone?
Yes, it's 907-360-3646.
Okay, do you see everybody there, ma'am?
Wait,
Are you guys still there?
Yeah, we're still here.
Okay, no, what I'm saying is, are you still at the scene there, or did you leave?
Yes, we're at the scene.
Okay, and you still nobody
In the car.
You have no idea where the suspect went. Nobody saw which way he went?
I did not, actually.
Okay.
We passed it and then turned around and came back. So
Oh, you did? Okay.
we didn't see where he went because we were already past it.
Okay.
We're on scene and staged.
Okay. Okay, everyone's there. Sir, thank you so much. We appreciate this, okay? You go ahead. Okay, go ahead and just stay there. They're going to come talk to you if they need to, okay? Just leave your phone open and we'll need to contact you, okay?
Okay.
No problem. Okay, thank you guys so much. I'm glad you're safe.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
To assume that was Mr. Samoya who's using your phone as well, is that right?
Mhm.
I think you said it's on your 911 call, it was like 30 seconds earlier. Is that about right in your
Yeah.
memory? And with that, you indicated at one point that campus security had arrived. Is that right?
Yes.
And did you see them arrive, or is this when you got back around, they were already there?
When we turned back around, we saw them coming out and reaching the person on the ground.
And did they have sirens? Or I heard sirens in the background. Do you know if that was campus security?
No,
or
that wasn't campus security.
the Seattle Police Department arrived?
Must have been.
There was some description on there of what the man looked like. Do you recall what he looked like? Or
I don't recall. I remember him being a slight build, dark hair, but I don't remember anything about what he was wearing. Maybe a collared shirt on. I don't remember really.
fair to say you were more focused on the gun at that point?
Mm-hmm.
That's actually all the questions I have. Thank you.
Thank you.
Wait, just a moment.
Mm-hmm.
Cross-examination?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Thank you. You're excused.
Thank you.
The state calls Michael Samoya.
Mr. Smoy, if you raise your right hand, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth?
I do.
Please be seated.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Can you state your full name and spell it for the court reporter?
My name is Michael Samoya, and that's spelled, the last name is spelled Samoya.
I take it you know Sharma Haley.
I do indeed.
And she just described an incident that occurred near the Seattle Pacific University campus a few years back. Do you recall that incident as well?
Yes, I do.
Can you tell the jury what you remember from that day?
We had left Canal Marina. We were looking at a space there for a barge. And we got in the car and we're driving back towards Nickerson. We turned the corner just at the edge of the campus. And I saw that gentleman at the edge of the eastern car line, crossing the street in front of us, no more than 20 or 30 yards away. He didn't look at us. He basically just kept walking across the street. He had a shotgun, probably looked like a Beretta shotgun or something over and under, whatever. He brought the gun up to his shoulder about midway into the street and proceeded to walk across the street. We heard that I heard the shots from the shotgun, and just happened to, there were two people who were standing in the building on the west side of the street, and one of them fell to the ground.
Let me back you up a second. You indicated, first of all, I think you said that man. Are you referring to the man?
This gentleman right here with the check shirt.
Do you recognize him from that day?
Not exactly. All I saw was the side of his face.
Okay. You indicated he was crossing in front of you, is that
Yes.
right? Is that why you're in the car?
This is correct. While we were driving up the street, he crossed in front of us. He paid no attention to, appeared to pay no attention to us. He just walked just straight across the street in front of us.
If he wasn't paying attention to you, could you tell what he was looking at or what he seemed to be focused on?
I couldn't exactly see what he was focused on, but as he brought the gun up to his shoulder, there was two gentlemen standing on the side of the street. So he obviously he seemed to be looking at them.
So when you first saw him, he did not have the gun. How was he carrying the gun?
He had it on the side. As I said, he was on the side of this. He'd just come into the street, and he had the gun down, carrying it on the side of his, demonstrating. He had the gun just like this, brought the gun up to his shoulder, and as he was walking across the street, pulled the trigger.
Okay. And for the record, you just had your arm down at the...
We heard that I heard the shots.
whether he was sort of, can you describe his demeanor and the pace with which he was
It
walking?
was a very deliberate pace. He paid no attention to, he appeared to pay no attention to his surroundings other than just walking straight across the street.
When he brought the gun up, how far away was he from the two people on the sidewalk?
He was, when he brought the gun up, he was about midway in the street, so roughly the middle of the street. And when he fired, he was probably a little bit past that.
When he brought the gun up, could you see what the two other people were doing? Were they looking at him? Were they?
I saw the two people at a similar time to when I saw him, because I wondered what was this person doing, and because I thought it was a joke, frankly. And I saw the two people they were standing on the street conversing, and it looked like one of them was smoking a cigarette. And I didn't see any smoke, but it looked like the actions of somebody smoking.
I think you said you heard shots. Did you hear one shot?
One
or
shot.
One shot. Did you see the shot? Did you see the man get hit?
I did not. I saw the man fall or hit the ground. I'm not sure whether I saw him fall or whether he was on the ground when I don't remember that part.
But you have an image of sort of hearing the shot, and at some point it's the man on the
Correct.
ground. What did you guys do?
It was my first reaction to get the heck out of there. But Sharman, we immediately decided to call 911, and we went up a little ways up towards Nickerson and made a U-turn in the middle of the street and came back and parked in front of the, I think it's an auditorium on the east side of the street.
Did you see where the man with the gun went after the person
We
shot?
tried to discern where he went in order to provide more information, but had no recollection, had no knowledge of where he went. It was that fast.
When you got back around, what did you see? If he wasn't there, who was there, if anybody?
By then, there weren't really, I didn't see anybody around, frankly, but I think we might have still been on the phone talking to 911 people.
Well,
And the campus police or some security police were pretty fast.
You indicated you first seen two people standing on the street, maybe one having a cigarette. What about the other person? Did you see where that person went?
I did not. That was when I had that immediate reaction to get out of there.
And were they gone by the time you got back?
We couldn't. I couldn't actually, from where we were parked, I couldn't see where they were standing. I couldn't see anybody there.
And maybe so before, how far was the person with the gun from your car when you saw him raise the gun up to eye level?
A little bit farther than that wall at the end of the courtroom. That's probably 20 walking across the street.
Towards the two men?
Correct.
Or two people. When you saw him, did you see where he came from when he first crossed?
I could not tell where he came from because he was just at the corner of the parked cars on the side of the street, so he could have come in between the cars, or he could have gotten out of the car prior to my seeing.
Just one moment. That's actually all the questions I have for you. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Cross-examination.
Mr. Samoy, thanks for coming in today. I just have
Hello.
one clarification. You said that when he walked across the street in front of you, he looked straight ahead and never turned to you.
Correct.
Did he check left or right before he crossed the street for traffic? No. Straight across the street.
He made no effort to look in any direction except the direction he was facing.
Thank you very much.
Mm-hmm.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Anything else?
No, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right, thank you. You're excused. Stand and stretch for a second if you wish. Next witness. You raise your right hand. You swear or affirm to tell the truth?
Yes.
Be seated here, please.
Could you tell us your name and spell your first and last name, please?
My name's Anna Sophia Cuderillo Hackney, ANNASOPHIA CUTURILO-HACKNEY.
And what do you go by?
Sophie Cuderillo.
Sophie. Okay. And where do you live?
I live in Beacon Hill.
Are you in school currently?
Yes, I am.
Where do you go to school?
Seattle Pacific University.
And what year are you?
I'm a senior.
What are you studying?
Physics.
And do you have plans when you graduate?
Yes, I'm going to go to graduate school somewhere.
Have you gone to Seattle Pacific all 4 years?
4 years, yes. I was at Seattle Central before that, though.
Do you know someone named Thomas Fowler?
I do.
And how do you know him?
He was one of my friends and schoolmates at Seattle Pacific University.
Okay. Now, you said that you were majoring in math and physics, is that right?
I changed my majors to physics and mechanical engineering.
Okay. So did you spend a lot of time, or do you spend a lot of time in Otto Miller Hall?
I do.
And did Mr. Fowler as well?
He did.
Okay. So I want to draw your attention to June 5th of 2014. Do you remember talking to Thomas Fowler that afternoon?
I do.
And where were you when you were talking?
We were standing outside of the front doors of Otto Miller Hall.
Okay. And do you remember what you were talking about?
Yes, we were talking about the following year's school classes and what teachers to take or what teachers not to take, and we were in similar majors, so he was kind of helping me out.
Okay. Were you in transit to anywhere, or are you on your way to anywhere when you ran into him, or how did that, were you walking together? How did you come? Now, you indicated it was at the front of Otto Miller, is that right?
Yes.
Okay. I want you to take a look, if you would, at States Exhibit 2. See if you can get your bearings of the campus. You can step down if you need to.
Okay.
And this is Otto Miller Hall.
Okay.
Does that look right to you? The
Good.
canal is up here.
That looks right, yeah.
Okay, I'm pointing to number 18 for the record. What's across the street from Otto Miller?
Well, there's the water, and then right across the street from the main entrance, there's the gymnasium.
Okay, and do you know the name of that building?
I can't remember it.
Okay. So when you were talking, where were you relative to the building, to Otto Miller?
We were right to the left of the main entrance. If you were facing us, we were to the right of the main entrance.
Okay. So were you facing toward the building or perpendicular to the building?
I was slightly perpendicular to the building. We were kind of angled at each other.
Okay.
State's Exhibit 12 is marked for identification.
Get down to 12, that would be great. Sorry, I didn't mean to overwhelm you there. Thank you.
I'm going to hand you what's been marked State's Exhibit 12. And have you take a look at it and see if you can place where that is.
That's the entrance of Otto Miller Hall.
Okay. And it appears to be glass doors, is that right?
It does.
Okay. Offer 12.
No objection.
Submitted.
State's exhibits 13, 16 are marked for identification.
And I'm going to show you some more photographs, 13, 14, 15, and 16. You'll see police tape up, but if you can sort of put that out of your mind and tell us if you recognize what the pictures show. First, 13.
Yep, I see that. Looks like the view across the street from OMH.
Sorry?
Otto Miller Hall looks like the view across the street. So if you're standing across the street from Otto Miller Hall and you're looking at it, that's what it looks like.
Okay. And how about 14?
Yep, that's looking down the street of Otto Miller.
Okay. Is that looking approximately in the direction of where you were standing?
Yeah, approximately.
Okay. And 15?
That looks like Otto Miller Hall as well, across the street from it.
Okay. Again, is that showing the area where you were standing with Mr. Fowler?
It does, approximately.
Okay. And 16?
That looks like more like where we're standing. Closer to the trash cans is where we were standing, but yeah.
Okay. Offer 13 through 16.
No objection.
13 through 16 are admitted.
Okay, I'm going to put some pictures up on the screen here, and I'm actually going to have you come down, if you would, and stand over to the far end of the screen there. You can stand right there. I'm going to have you point me down on it, since we don't know the campus. Okay. So if we're looking at this first picture, what are we looking at?
That's Otto Miller Hall. We're across the street from it. That big building, that's the parking lot close to 3rd Avenue.
Okay. So Otto Miller Hall is actually on 3rd Avenue, is that right?
It is.
Okay. How about that?
That's looking across the street from at Otto Miller Hall towards the front entrance, those doors.
Okay. And is that the front entrance you were talking about?
Yeah, the front entrance.
When you walk in through those glass doors, what do you arrive at? What's in there?
To the right there's a security box, and then if you go through the second area of doors, they're in kind of an open common area, and then to the right there's a hallway, there's a corner hallway, and there's classrooms immediately when you walk towards there, and there's also a staircase towards your right that goes up to the 2nd floor.
Okay. And I think we saw pictures earlier today, there's like a sunken area for studying or talking or whatever, is that right?
Yeah, it's like one step down, and there's tables and whiteboards to work on.
Okay. Now, this vantage point appears to be looking down the sidewalk. Can you tell us where you were from this vantage point?
I think I was standing a little bit down there, a little bit past the trash can, I think.
Okay.
So
for the record, you're indicating the trash can by the pillar?
I don't know if it was that close to the front entrance, in between probably that bush and the trash can, from what I recall.
So you see the gentleman standing, it looks like a police officer standing by the tall bush?
Yeah, that's around where we were standing.
That's around where you were standing?
Yeah.
So which way were you facing if you look at this picture?
If I'm lined up with the building, I was facing kind of like that. I wasn't facing right down the street and not at the gymnasium, just kind of cornered.
Okay. So if you were standing here in this position again, you would be actually facing the camera.
I think so.
Okay. If
Yeah.
you're in the position down here looking this direction, or you're slightly angled.
Yeah, slightly angled a little bit towards that way.
And I'm sorry, I should know what number that is. That is number 16 that we've been discussing. Okay. Now, when you were standing there, was there anybody else on the sidewalk with you?
I'm not sure, I wasn't paying attention to
Okay.
just talking to him.
Just talking to Thomas?
Yeah.
Okay. And how long did you talk to him for?
It couldn't have been very long, maybe a couple minutes
Okay.
at most.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to have you return to your seat for the time being. So, at some point, did something unusual happen?
Yeah, from across the street, we saw someone walking down across the street, and he was pointing something at us, and he told us to get inside.
Okay. Now, by across the street, I'm approaching 16 again. Are you talking about the far right of the picture?
I am.
Okay. So he was crossing this direction over to the sidewalk?
Yes.
And could you see what he was holding?
Yeah. He was holding a gun.
What kind of gun? Could you tell?
I don't know much about guns, but it looked like a rifle. It looks long and you could see.
Do you see that man in the courtroom today?
I do.
Where is he?
He's sitting right there.
Next to defense counsel?
Yeah.
Now, when you saw him walking across the street, how was he holding the gun?
He was holding it like that, it looks like.
Okay. And you're indicating for the record about almost up to your shoulder, is that correct?
About.
Did it look to you like he was aiming the gun?
It did.
And where was it aimed?
He was pointing it, when I looked at him, it looked like he was pointing it at me, or both of us.
You and Thomas?
Yeah.
And, I'm sorry, you said he said something to you?
He did. He said, get inside.
Okay. What were you thinking at that point?
It didn't really register. First, I had never been in that situation. I was like, okay, that's weird. I thought it was a joke. I thought he was telling us to get inside because we were skipping class. I thought he knew Thomas. And it was headed towards the end of this year when all the seniors had their big projects out, and so it was not uncommon to have big metal devices being carried around, so I didn't really think anything of it. Didn't.
Given that that was the engineering school,
Mm-hmm.
right? So how did you react to him?
I kind of laughed, and then I turned back to Thomas and started talking again.
And what happened then?
I heard a bang, really, really big bang.
And I want to back up just a second. When you heard him say, get inside, can you describe the tone of his voice?
He didn't sound very, it was a order. It wasn't light, it was very demanding, get inside.
Could you see the expression on his face? Were you able to see his face?
I couldn't see it very well. I think he was wearing a jacket or something, and
so you heard a bang, and where was the defendant at that time?
I couldn't see him. When I turned to look back at Thomas, he was out of my sight.
Okay. And what else did you see when you turned?
I saw Paul fall onto the ground, and he was shot in the face.
And who is Paul?
Paul is a student there. I had seen him around Otto Miller Hall. I didn't know him personally, but I had seen him in the hallways randomly.
Had you been aware that he was in that area around you and Thomas?
I think I saw him before I had seen Aaron coming in or out. I didn't know if he was coming in or out of the building, but I'd seen him at some point, acknowledged him.
Okay. But he wasn't part of your conversation, actually?
No.
And when he fell, how far away was he from you?
He was very close. He was close enough to where I could feel like a rush of air falling when he fell down. He was very close.
So you've described him as an acquaintance of yours. I just want to make sure we're talking about the same person. Is this the young man that you're talking about?
Yeah.
That's the man you know as Paul?
Yes.
When he fell, how did he fall? How did he land on the pavement?
He had his backpack on, and he fell onto the pavement. His right side of his face was on the ground, and he had his arms by his sides and straight down.
Could you tell if he'd been injured?
Yes,
How could you tell that?
because half of his head wasn't there.
And what was your thought about his condition?
Immediately I thought, that is a very elaborate joke. I thought, that's so strange. What is that? And then it didn't even register. I didn't even start running at first. Thomas was the one that started running first because it didn't really register with me. I was in shock.
How much time had elapsed from when you first saw this man walking across the street to when you saw Paul on the pavement?
It wasn't very long at all. I wasn't paying attention. It was probably less than a minute,
Okay.
I'm guessing.
Okay. So you said Thomas started to run, is that right?
Yes.
In which direction did he run?
Towards the canal and turned a corner into the parking lot towards the machine shop.
And what happened then?
We were both running and we ran into the machine shop.
Okay, I want to back up a little bit. Did you see the man with the gun do anything else with the gun after he shot Paul?
Yes.
What did he do?
When Paul fell, I looked back up at him, and he had the gun pointed, and I was standing pretty in between Thomas and the man, and he had the gun pointed at me, and I heard a click, and then the gun went down, and it looked like he was manipulating it somehow, and then I looked towards Thomas, and then Thomas ran, and then I ran.
How far away was the man from you when he pointed the gun and you heard the click?
He was pretty close. I'd say less than 15 feet off of random.
Could you tell where he was pointing it at on you?
Yeah, he was pointing it pretty high. I could see the barrel, and I could see it. It looked really close to me.
So you actually were able to look down the barrel? Is that correct?
Yes.
When you heard the click, did you realize what had happened?
The click kind of I was awake, more awake at that point, and then it kind of hit me, I need to run.
Now, when he began manipulating the gun after it clicked, can you describe what the look was on his face?
I wasn't looking at his face, unfortunately.
Okay. Did you ever notice him, were you ever able to see any expression on his face?
Anytime that I did look at his face, he looked pretty monotone. I didn't really see any other emotions. Yeah.
So you said that you ran around the back, is that correct?
Yes.
Because Paul did. What's in the back?
There is a parking lot across the street from the canal, and then there's a garage that opens up. That's the machine shop where mechanical engineers work on all of their machining projects, and the garage door was open.
Okay, so it's actually in the back of the building, is that correct?
Yes.
Is there anything else back there?
Yeah, there's another entrance that you need a key card to get into. It's the back entrance. There's the garage, and then that's pretty much it for that belongs to the school.
Okay. Is there a parking area back there as well?
Yeah, the parking lot.
States Exhibits 17 and 18 are marked for identification.
Are you allowed to park in that parking lot as a student?
If you have a pass.
States Exhibit 19 is marked for identification.
Okay, I'm going to show you 17, 18, and 19. Have you take a look at those and tell us what they depict, if you can say.
This one looks like the inside of the machine shop.
Okay.
18 is also inside the machine shop. And 19 looks like you're standing outside of the machine shop looking towards the back side of the gym.
Okay. And can you see the doors in 19 that lead inside?
I can, yeah. I can see one of the doors.
Okay. Which one? The garage door or the key card door?
I can see the key card door, and it looks like the garage door is cut out. I don't really see the garage door.
Okay. Offer 17, 18, and 19.
No objection.
You're admitted.
If I get just a moment. Okay, thank you. So, what does this picture depict?
Yeah, it looks like inside of the machine shop.
And it's used by engineering students for projects or that sort of thing, is that right?
Yeah, only mechanical engineers, and they have to be, I think, juniors or seniors.
Okay. When you went in, was there anybody in there?
There were a few people working on projects.
Okay. I'll come back to that in a second. Is this the outside of the building?
Looks, yeah, that's the key card entrance area.
Okay. And is that the parking lot area?
It is.
Okay. When you went into the mechanics or the machine shop and there were other people there, what did you do?
I told them to close the door, to call the police. There's a man out there killing people.
Okay. And what was their reaction?
They were kind of, they were like, what? They didn't really register quite yet, and I kept repeating myself and yelling and running around. So.
Okay. And does that shop lead back into the building?
Yeah, there's an inside door that you can access.
And were you worried about that at all, or did you know where he had gone?
I didn't know where he had gone. I was afraid that he would have followed us to the back, so I just wanted to close. I wanted that door closed.
Okay, that garage door.
Yeah, the big rolling one.
Where was Thomas?
He was in the machine shop also.
Okay, and how did he look to you?
He looked shocked. He looked quiet. He wasn't saying anything. People saw that there was blood, and they were looking for like a first aid kit or something.
Okay, where was there blood on him?
There was blood on his face and a little bit on his chest.
And did you hear anything then at that point that caused you concern?
Yeah, I heard a second shot.
Could you tell where that was coming from?
I couldn't. It sounded like it was muffled but close, like it was inside the building.
And how much time would you say had passed from the first shot that took down Hall to that shot that you heard in the machine shop?
I don't know, time was kind of weird. It might have been a minute or two, maybe. I don't know.
And what was the reaction of people inside then?
They heard the shot and then they looked startled, and I think it really hit them that there is a guy out there with a gun.
So what did you do at that point?
I grabbed a couple of students and we ran out of the shop and we went upstairs to the computer lounge and we barricaded ourselves in there because the door didn't lock.
How did you barricade yourself?
We flipped over some tables and we held our bodies against the tables.
Why not just stay in the machine shop?
We were just frantic running around, and there was, it's not the most secure place because there was a giant window there, and so we went and grabbed them, went upstairs. There's no windows in the computer lounge.
Okay, and that's upstairs?
It is, directly upstairs.
Is that up that big staircase that's right inside the main entrance?
You can get up there with that one, but there's a smaller staircase right next to the machine shop that will take you up.
And once you put the desks against the doors, how long were you there?
I'm not sure. It felt really, really fast. I'm not sure. We weren't keeping track.
What caused it to end you, or to end for you?
The police knocked on the door and they said they were the police, and they told us to open the door, and we opened the door.
Okay. At some point, did you call 911?
I think I called them multiple times.
Okay. When you, do you recall when you gave your statement to police indicating that when the gun clicked, that Mr. Ybarra looked irate or frustrated?
It's possible, yeah.
Okay.
I think I remember saying that.
Does that sound right to you?
It sounds correct.
State's Exhibit 20 is marked for identification.
This is the 911 call on this building. And offering 20. Sorry. So I'm offering 20?
No, Your Honor.
Can we take our break at this point? This would be a good time.
Yes, that'd be fine.
Thank you.
All right, we'll take our 15-minute break. Please leave your notebooks and chairs. Come back. Right to the jury. All right, we'll be at recess.
Thank you. Right, Jeff, I showed the picture of Polly and it hasn't been admitted yet. No, I know. Yeah.